they talking real loud. Spreading on light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. With my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading on light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading on light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your Daily Vitamins. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so already, be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. All right. Also, don't forget to double check and make sure you're still subscribed, especially if you have not been receiving those notifications. Okay. Now, I know that we're going to talk about something else tonight, but there is just too much going on with this war and Pam Bondi's lying self. So we'll talk about that tomorrow, I promise. Okay, so with that all being said, let's see who's in here. Hello, Laverne, Reggie, Buckhorst DC, Cherokee Descendant Dale. All right, let's get into it. Mocha Mama Jamma. All right, Nessa G, Laverne, Desmond, Pretty Wings, We the People. All right. Shout out to all my loyal royals and everyone tuned into the Queen. And a big shout out to my moderators, because y'all know they be putting in work. Okay. I see you, Miss Mississippi. Okay. So, hey, we the people. So let's have a brief word from my sponsor, and then we'll get right into it.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com. And don't forget that she also sells beard oil. Okay, now with that all being said, let's get into it because it has come to my attention. Iran has posted a video because, they were getting sick and tired of Trump declaiming victory, saying that all of their aircraft defenses were down. They didn't have any drones left and all this crazy stuff that he's been lying about. And so they posted a video. Now, mind you, this is after Trump's administration posted a video of them shooting down one of their jets, I do believe. So they came back with their own video. They confirmed that they actually shot down an F-35. Okay, F-35 downing. So let's get into it. I'm going to share this very brief clip, but this is what everybody has been talking about. Okay, so I'm going to share the clip. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay, so I think we can all see how precise their technology is, and I find that very interesting. I find that all very interesting. See the lies. Okay, he just can't keep the lies, from being debunked. And I don't understand why this man just lies about the most ignorant of things.
First time in history an F-35 has been shot. It was a direct hit, and the pilot never saw it coming. No flares, no evasive maneuvers. The F-35 is America's best jet. This proves that Iranian radars and air defenses are fully active, and they are not destroyed. The fighter jet had to make an emergency landing, and the pilot is in stable condition. The Iranians have confirmed this is a 2025 air defense that was built after the 12-day war, and radar, which we thought was destroyed, was used to detect the $100 million stealth jet. And this becomes the first ever hit and possibly the first ever detection. Everything that we thought was happening in Iran of destroyed air defenses, destroyed radars for the past 3 weeks is completely false. Because it would take the most advanced, best, and expensive radars and air defense systems to even find this jet. But the Iranians were even able to get a camera on it and hit it with footage. Now, the F-35 is a plane that America doesn't even give some of its best allies just because of how stealthy it is. The $100 million F-35 for the first.
Okay, so did you all hear that? Did you all hear that? But we're supposed to believe the BS that Trump is spewing? Make it all make sense. Okay, now this is supposed to be a superior plane, basically is what they say, or a superior jet. They say that it's a 5th generation multi-role stealth fighter designed for unparalleled situational awareness, combining advanced stealth, sensor fusion, and networking capabilities. It's widely considered the best due to its ability to operate undetected in contested airspace. It can gather immense battlefield data and share it with friendly forces, acting as a quarterback rather than just a fighter. Okay, now you see how crazy this man's looking? But he's looking even more crazy because his own officials have absolutely contradicted what he's been saying about him not being briefed and other things. And if you all didn't see that TikTok that I posted earlier, well, here's the thing. Now they're claiming that Joe Kent, the former counterintelligence director who resigned Tuesday, now they're saying that he is under investigation. And they claim that he's been under an investigation for months now. But if that's the case, why was he even deployed? Why was he still holding the position? Okay, this seems like retaliation to me. I can't say for sure, but that's what it sounds like. He's under a whole investigation by the FBI. They're claiming that there was some leaked information or evidence. Okay, so please make that make sense. And if that is the case, why didn't Trump happen to mention anything about that when he spoke on the man? Because he didn't say anything about it. Okay, he didn't say one single word about it. But anyway, let's continue. Okay, now let's go to this report. Hold on. Oh yeah, let's go to this video where they said Trump's getting people into even worse trouble, okay, because of his foolishness. Okay, like that, everyone, please like and share. I'm going to this video and I'm going to use an overlay.
That he was very much aware of the attack of the gas field, which is also shared by Qatar. Even CNN is saying that now.
I want to talk about the president's response to this. He said, among other things, he said that Israel's going to stop its attack. But maybe the most glaring line right here, the United States knew nothing about this particular attack. He's saying the United States, he's claiming, knew nothing about the Israeli strike on the South Pars field. You've been in these planning sessions. How likely is that?
Not very likely. I mean, if you're really integrated at the planning level, you will know exactly what your coalition counterpart is doing. And when you work with a foreign country like the Israelis, they will share with you a lot of what they're doing. Now, is it possible that they did this on their own? Yeah, technically, but remember, they need things like refueling support. They need logistical support. They also need intelligence support. So that would then lead you to believe that we knew something, that they were going to do something with their targeting package against the South Pars field.
But Trump didn't expect Iran to set the entire region's energy infrastructure on fire, fearing an unthinkable and its catastrophic impact on the global energy sector. Trump had to issue this desperate SOS to the Iranians. So that he doesn't completely make a fool of himself, he also chose to issue warnings to the Iranians. And the Iranians just showed them today just how much they care about his empty threats. Iran bombed the Bazan oil refinery in Haifa, which is considered to be a lifeline for the people of this illegal settler colony. You can watch the video on our Telegram channel, details on the screen and also in the description.
Also, I think it's important to see that there has been a video posted by China Global. China Global posted this video yesterday. I just saw it today, but they basically are saying that Dubai and all of them are in on this because there's a video of them dancing with Bibi's people. It looks like they're having a good old party, like they're celebrating. Now, I'm going to go to that clip, but I'm going to mute the volume because they're playing music, of course, because they're in there partying. Okay, and I want you to think about this because we see them partying, but I just showed you a video of some of the IDF soldiers also partying underground just days ago. So how are these people having time to party while we're over here stressed the hell out? Can anybody make it all make sense? Trump is the biggest fool ever. Okay, let's go to the footage. Now, also just notice how there appears to be not one woman anywhere to be found. I thought that was just a bit strange, don't you? Okay, two men sitting there dancing down to the ground, but there didn't seem to be a woman in sight. Make it all make sense. Okay, I find it all nefarious. All right, I find it all nefarious. Okay, now with that all been said, let's go to Trump. Okay, with his contradictions and lies that just keep continuing.
Supposed to go after all these other countries in the Middle East. Nobody expected that. We were shocked.
Are you surprised that nobody briefed you ahead of time that that might be their retaliation?
Nobody, no. The greatest experts, nobody thought they were going to hit.
In testimony today, President Donald Trump's top intelligence officials seem to contradict his claim that nobody expected Iran to go after U.S. allies in the region.
The president says nobody knew. And my question is, did you tell him?
What I can tell you is that Iran had specific plans to hit U.S. interests in energy sites across the region. And that's why the Department of War and the Department of State took measures for force protection and personnel protection in advance of Operation Epic Fury. I think that's what's most important.
CNN reported that the Trump administration underestimated Iran's willingness to close the Strait of Hormuz. Senators asked top intelligence officials if the president was briefed on that likely outcome.
Did you brief the president if he starts a war of choice, that the likely result would be that Iran would strike adjacent Gulf nations and close the Strait of Hormuz? Did you brief him on those two facts that I think have been consistently the assumptions of the intelligence community?
I have not and won't divulge internal conversations. I will say that those of us within the intelligence community continue to provide the president with all of the best objective intelligence available to inform his decisions.
They weren't supposed to go after.
Here's the thing, beloveds. Trump is such an idiot. Trump doesn't realize that he got played. Okay? He doesn't realize that he got played. Didn't I tell y'all that? I told you all earlier, and I think I said it yesterday as well, that Trump has gotten played, and that's all it is. He's so dumb. He doesn't realize that he's being used, okay, because other people want to be the top dog, and they want the U.S. to be bowing down to them, okay? That's right. Miss Mississippi said Trump realized that he's been tricked. Exactly. Trisha said, dumbest president ever. Well, I can't deny that. Now let's go to this clip of SATANYahu, who clearly and unfortunately is still amongst the breathing. I could have sworn he was in the spiritual realm. Okay, but anywho, let's go to it because they asked him point blank, period. Did he pressure Trump into this? Okay, and here's what he had to say.
ABC News.
Sure. Hi, Tom Sufi Burridge, ABC News. Prime Minister, given the escalation of attacks on US allies across the Gulf, given the spiraling energy costs, the high costs in general, the US service personnel killed in this war, many Americans are asking that question, whether you misled their government into starting this war, and for how long should Americans keep paying the price?
Well, I misled no one, and I didn't have to convince President Trump about the need to prevent Iran from developing its nuclear program, putting it underground, and being able to launch nuclear-tipped missiles at the United States. He understood that. He explained it to me. I didn't explain it to him. And I think that our partnership is the only way to avoid this catastrophic development. The loss of servicemen is painful. Early on in my military service, a fellow soldier died in my arms. I lost a brother who fought terrorists, led the historic Entebbe rescue. The cost to bereaved families is enormous, and I sympathize and send the condolences of the people of Israel to these families and to the American people. Freedom is precious. It has its costs. But if you're not prepared to defend it, if you're not prepared to resist the tyrannies that are trying to arm themselves with the weapons of mass death, you will have no future. And therefore, we're doing what we can. As far as oil prices rising, spikes, you know what a spike is? You know what a spike is? It goes up and goes down. The Americans are working very hard, and we're trying to help them in every way that we can, to open the straits of Hormuz. And if they succeed, which I think they will, then oil prices will come down. But if you say, all right, I'm suffering right now, and people are, then I shouldn't do anything. I should just succumb to the blackmail, let Iran get on with it, let them develop nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles to deliver them to New York and Los Angeles. you're going to be blackmailed in ways that you can't even imagine.
Now, the reason he's saying blackmailed is because that's what he's been accused of doing. Okay, he's been accused of blackmailing U.S. politicians, okay, with Epstein-type business. Please pay attention, and I believe every word of it.
I think what this war has done is unmask what Iran is. You know, we've said for years, look at these people. They're doing things that normal regimes do not do. I don't hear even adversaries of the United States chanting death to America, death to the great Satan, massacring tens of thousands of their own people at will like that in 2 days. You have that sometimes.
How can he talk with all that's happening in Gaza? Like, he sounds like an idiot to me.
But the combination of fanaticism, deep ideological lunacy, there's no other way to call it, the total and utter ruthlessness.
Listen to the words that he's using to try to demonize Iran. This man, I'm sorry, but it's so true. He and his people cannot talk about anybody as it pertains to nefariousness, okay, and heinous crimes. We've all seen what happened. Okay, how can he even dare? Like, it's the audacity of it for me.
Of this regime makes it uniquely dangerous. Uniquely dangerous not only to Israel and to the United States, but to everything in between and far beyond. And the fact that this is not recognized, you ask me, okay, what do people think? What did they think in the 30s? What did they think in the 30s when you had a terrible, ruthless, killer regime led by a lunatic?
You mean the lunatic that you're just like? Y'all know who he's talking about, but I'm sorry, he's him. He's him. How is he not? Okay. J Love said, did he just say death to the great Satan? Yes, because that's what they call him over in the Middle East. They're talking about him when they say that. And I'm sorry, but he can't make anybody feel sad for him, because after all the stuff that we know that he's done.
That took one country after the other, did it very sequentially. What did they say? They said what? They said, let's stay out.
I've heard enough. I wish him the worst. I wish he was dead. Okay, too bad they didn't get him. Hopefully they will before it's over with. Now, with that all being said, let's continue. And this is something I forgot to tell you all yesterday. This is how you know Trump is mentally incompetent. Because do you all know that yesterday he was trying to go in, I think it was yesterday, he was trying to go in and drag Governor Gavin Newsom because, you know, Governor Gavin Newsom came out and said that he had dyslexia, you know, and that it was difficult for him to read. That's why you never watch him read a speech. So here's what Trump had to say about that. But while he's trying to drag this man and call him stupid or whatever, basically, he doesn't realize that he's the one that's really stupid, because he literally called Gavin Newsom the president, which I thought that's what he was supposed to be, this dumb self.
The president of the United States, Gavin Newsom, admitted that he has learning disabilities, dyslexia, everything about him is dumb. But then he looked at the audience and said, "But I'm smarter than you," or something like that.
Okay, first of all, that is not even what the man said when he was talking to the audience. He never said, "I'm smarter than you." He said, "I'm just like you." That's what he said. Sit down somewhere. Okay, trying to lie and can't even get his lies out right. But mind you, he said the president. What an idiot. No, hold on, because here's what they said happened. Hold on. This is what they said happened when they showed him the clip of him saying that. Now, I don't know if this is for real, but this is what they posted, and it's hilarious. Now, they say, this is him. When your friend shows you, you're losing your mind. So they're showing him the clip, supposedly, of him calling Gavin the president.
The president of the United States, Gavin Newsom. That's probably AI.
Did y'all see it? Nine, it's probably AI. I am just so done, okay? I am so done. Anyway, hold on. Let me go to Gavin Newsom's wife because she had something to say about it as well.
I just witnessed Donald Trump's comments about learning disabilities and my husband, Gavin Newsom, and I honestly had to take a beat. Suggesting that someone with dyslexia or any learning difference for that matter is somehow less capable of leading or achieving is extremely ignorant and offensive. Dyslexia is not a measure of intelligence. In fact, quite the contrary, and learning differences do not determine someone's potential. On the contrary, some of the most successful leaders in business and the world have dyslexia. Day in and day out, Trump says things that make him unfit for office. He degrades our vulnerable communities, our institutions, even the Constitution itself. And somehow we're told to ignore it, turn a blind eye, pretend everything is normal. Guess what? It's not. And we're fed up. As someone who grew up in a Republican household, shame on the Republican Party for normalizing this vile specimen of a human being stationed at the top of their party. There are millions of kids in this country with learning differences who are already working twice as hard to keep up. Kids who are trying to believe in themselves. I know this personally. A few of my children learn differently. I see the emotions, the toll, the coping mechanisms, the extra hours, the grit it takes them every single day. And I know they're going to be fabulous. Learning differences don't make you less intelligent. They don't make you less capable. And they certainly don't make you less worthy of leadership. They make you special. And honestly, if we're going to talk about what's disqualifying in a leader, let's talk about that. A convicted felon, a man found liable for sexual abuse, a man notorious for degrading female journalists, a man with a track record for bankrupting businesses, a man whose name has shown up thousands of times in the Epstein files, a man who sends mass extremists to terrorize Black and brown communities and rip kids away from their families, the most corrupt president in our nation's history. Everything that Donald Trump represents is frankly beyond.
Okay, I mean, the nerve that him and SATANYahu have the audacity to try to call out other people when they're both from the pits of hell. Okay, they are the worst of the worst. I can't think of anyone worse than them. Okay, even if they go back to 1930s. Please miss me with all of it. Okay? Absolutely nefarious. And let's go to this clip because what I did notice from this ABC News reporter when she talked about him and Gavin Newsom, I noticed there was a difference in her report. Just pay attention because we can all tell that the media has likely been bought and sold.
And President Trump once again taking aim at Governor Newsom over a learning disability. The president suggested Newsom can't be president because of his dyslexia.
Gavin Newsom has admitted that he has learning disabilities. Honestly, I'm all for people with learning disabilities, but not for my president. I think a president should not have learning disabilities, okay? And I know it's highly controversial to say such a horrible thing.
The president has made several comments about Newsom and his learning disability over the last several weeks. Nearly 20% of the population has dyslexia, which, according to the Mayo Clinic, does not impact someone's intelligence. On social media, Newsom responded saying, "To every kid with a learning disability, don't let anyone, not even the president of the United States, bully you. Dyslexia isn't a weakness, it's your strength." Up next, and President Trump once again.
Okay, I find that all interesting. I think I can think of a handful of people worse than him, but that list is very short. Please let me know who they are, because I'll tell you one thing, even if you can find people more evil than him, the bottom line is that I can guarantee you that they were more intellectual than him, because he's a whole fool. Okay, he's nefarious, he's a psychopath, a malignant narcissist, and as stupid as anyone could be, and not to mention a pathological liar. Now, unless they've covered all of those bases collectively, I wouldn't say they're worse than Trump. Okay? Now, let's go to this video because this man is clearly a whole raccoon trying to go in on the left and saying that they're reaching basically because he seems to agree with Trump that Governor Gavin Newsom couldn't be the president. But what I asked him in his comment section is, sir, you think that Governor Gavin Newsom or someone with dyslexia shouldn't be president? But what do you think when you look like and sound like when you're sitting here caping for someone who's got 34 felonies, accused by credible witnesses in the Epstein files, has said many disparaging and nefarious things, okay? At the end of the day, like, make yourself make sense. He sounds like a whole idiot. And people usually sound like idiots because that's absolutely what they are.
So the newest thing that liberals are offended about today. So Trump said he doesn't think that Gavin Newsom would make a good president because he's dyslexic. And the liberals are mad about this. And now they're like, he's saying someone with a learning disability shouldn't be president. You're right. He shouldn't. You shouldn't be president if you're dyslexic. And this is nothing against people who suffer from dyslexia. All I'm saying is, I don't think that.
And how can he fix his mouth to say, after he just agreed with Trump's sentiments, how can he then turn around and say, and this is nothing against people with dyslexia? It absolutely is something against them, you idiots. See how stupid he is? Because if you're talking about Gavin Newsom for having dyslexia and saying he shouldn't be president, and you're implying that he can't read and he's not smart, then that's what you're saying to anyone that has it, you fool. And how does he think the man became a whole governor? Okay, yeah, we know that nepotism was probably involved because he's related to Nancy Pelosi, but the bottom line is the man can absolutely read. It's not like he's completely illiterate, and people with dyslexia can be intelligent. They just they have more of a struggle when it comes to certain things. But to dare sit up there and defend Trump, because guess what? Trump doesn't have dyslexia, but he's still an idiot. Please.
The most qualified person to run the country would be someone who struggles to read. I don't. And this is what I'm talking about, how liberals just keep moving the goalposts, because now you don't even care if your president is fucking literate. You think a person could be a good president without being literate. They struggle to read.
And you never will be. Get your silly stuff out of here. Okay, now with that all being said, let's go to this, let's go to where, hold on, Blumenthal goes in, because, no, before we get to that, let's go to Trump when he had the meeting with Japan and sat up there and embarrassed the whole United States, if you ask me. How pathetic was he? When the man asked him, why didn't he tell his allies that he was going to start the war? He told the man, well, why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Trump, why would he have told you about it? So ignorant. But let's let him cook.
Going to ask Congress for an additional $200 billion.
Well, we're asking for a lot of reasons beyond even what we're talking about in Iran.
Now, let me just say, the reporter is asking him about the $200 billion funding request from the Pentagon for the war. Okay, because they're running out of munitions, they're running out of missiles and whatnot, and now they need a whole $200 billion. Okay, do y'all hear that? $200 billion? And this hasn't even gone up for a month yet, not counting the billions already spent. But let's continue.
It's a very volatile world, and the military equipment, the power of some of this weaponry is unthinkable. You don't even want to know about it. Oh, you could end this thing in 2 seconds if you wanted to, but we are being very judicious. We want to be sure, and it's a small price to pay to make sure that we stay tippy top.
Do you intend to potentially put U.S. troops or more troops in the region?
No, I'm not putting troops anywhere. If I were, I certainly wouldn't tell you, but I'm not putting troops.
The House Speaker and in the House side, obviously, and the Senate Majority Leader, John Thune, both were very non-committal on the question of whether they could get the votes for what the president is clearly going to ask for, which is a big chunk of change, perhaps as much as $200 billion to go for funding more of this war. And I'll just tell you what John Thune said specifically to our colleague Ted Barrett. I think they're going to have to show us how they want to use it.
I mean, that makes clear a couple things. One, it seemed to be a number that that the Washington Post first reported that was also news to the Speaker and the Senate Majority Leader. So clearly the work had not been done to pave the way for this. But it is going to make one thing clear. Yes, there has not been a congressional vote to authorize this war, but paying for the funding effectively will be that. There is going to be a war debate over the funding. So Senate Majority Leader John Thune, he said that they're going to have to show it, but also they're going to specifically have to go through why the war was necessary now, what the objectives are going forward. So this is really going to be the
Listen, at the end of the day, they didn't get any congressional authority or approval. So are they going to be able to get that money? Let's hear what Senator Blumenthal has to say.
Speak to you quickly about the potential price tag for the supplemental. They're saying $200 billion just from the Pentagon side.
I'm sorry, the
supplemental on Iran, we're hearing $200 billion, and that's just the Pentagon ask.
A $200 billion supplemental for a war that has never been approved by Congress, with lowball estimates on the current costs to Americans and the potential for misinterpreting or spinning it as approval of the war, seems to me a non-starter.
Does that number track with what you've been hearing as a member of the Armed Services Committee?
They have provided no reliable or seemingly accurate numbers about the costs of this war. I think they've lowballed it so far, but my main concern is that this war has never been approved by Congress as constitutionally required. They've never sought approval. There have been no hearings. There are no reliable cost estimates, and approval of this supplemental could be spun or misinterpreted as approval of the war. I think they need to come clean with the American people before they ask for $200 billion on top of $1.5 trillion. That's the president's budget request.
Were you surprised how quickly this DHS markup lasted with Mullen? You know, seemingly there some folks might have wanted to debate that, you know, go straight to the vote.
I was surprised, but the handwriting was on the wall. Clearly, the votes were not going to be swayed at this point, but I still think there are very profound and powerful questions that this nominee will need to answer before the final confirmation.
Is it at all frustrating that his approval hinged on a Democratic vote? Senator Fetterman was the deciding vote.
Everybody votes as they wish, and what's really important is final confirmation, not the vote of the committee.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
What's important is final confirmation, not the vote of the committee. Okay, now I find it all interesting. So now let's go to the clip where he asked about Pearl Harbor like a whole idiot. Then we're going to go to Elizabeth Warren going in, dragging him about the request for all that money.
To tell US allies in Europe and Asia, like Japan, about the war before attacking Iran. So we are very confused about we Japanese citizens.
Well, one thing, you don't want to signal too much. You know, when we go in, we went in very hard, and we didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay, why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Okay, right? You know, he's asking me, no, you believe in surprise, I think much more so than us. And we had to surprise him, and we did. And because of that surprise, we knocked out, the first 2 days, we probably knocked out 50% of what we, and much more than we anticipated doing. So if I go and tell everybody about it, there's no longer a surprise.
Did y'all hear that BS excuse? Okay, so that's his reasoning. He is such an idiot. And then asking that man about Pearl Harbor. Okay, just what an idiot. And does he wonder? Okay, does he wonder why the allies don't want to fool with him? Make it all make sense.
Mr. Chairman, President Trump and Secretary Hegseth are repeatedly dragging the U.S. military across both legal and moral lines. Trump and Hegseth have plunged us into an illegal war with Iran, where a U.S. airstrike appears to have killed 150 school children. And it's not just in Iran. Under Trump and Hegseth, the military fired on civilians and shipwrecked survivors in the Caribbean. And now Secretary Hegseth is threatening to give, quote, no quarter to adversaries. This is not who we are. Our enemies might not care about civilian casualties, but the U.S. military always, always has. And that is why Secretary Hegseth's attacks on the guardrails that prevent civilian harm and civilian casualties is so dangerous. So take the JAGs. Now more than ever, we need strong, independent military lawyers. But there are serious concerns that JAGs cannot give honest legal advice right now. So, General Guillot, let me ask you, have you seen any evidence of the JAG Corps being sidelined, whether at Northcom or elsewhere in the department?
Senator, I've not seen any evidence of the JAGs being sidelined in our command. I'll point out that our JAG is included in all of our battle rhythm meetings. And in fact, our JAG is sitting behind me right now.
Yeah, and I just want you to know, I'm glad to hear that. Glad to hear it's not happening in your command. But we know that this is a problem across the department. Secretary Hegseth fired TJAGs because he thought they were, quote, roadblocks. And he installed his personal lawyer to retrain military lawyers to water down constraints. He reassigned hundreds of JAGs to work on Trump's radical immigration agenda. And last week, the secretary said he's starting a, quote, ruthless overhaul of the JAG system. Look, for decades, military lawyers have worked side by side with officers to make sure that strikes are lawful and that they minimize civilian casualties. That doesn't make us weaker. It saves innocent lives and it prevents fueling terrorism. But Secretary Hegseth has blamed JAGs for what he calls, quote, stupid rules of engagement. So, General Donovan, let me ask you, if a JAG or a civilian harm advisor says to distinguish between a military base and an elementary school and an airstrike, is that a stupid rule of engagement?
No, Senator.
Yeah. Look, JAGs can't give their best advice if they fear losing their job just for raising legal concerns with an operation. One way we protect the integrity of legal advice in our military is by creating for-cause removal protections for our JAGs. Commanders also need to be able to speak up when they're being asked to break the law. General Donovan, your predecessor was reportedly ousted because he raised concerns about the legality of the Caribbean boat strikes. Will you commit to informing this committee if Southcom is directed to do something that you or your JAG thinks may be illegal?
Senator, my first obligation, if I face what I believe is an unlawful or illegal order, is to obviously seek legal counsel, discuss that with my higher headquarters, and then move forward and not carry out an illegal order.
Yeah, I maybe you didn't hear my question. My question was, will you commit to informing this committee if Southcom is directed to do something that you or your JAG thinks is illegal?
If I reported that to this committee, Senator, it would be through my chain of command.
But you would make sure that we got the information?
I would report to my chain of command.
And you would not take any responsibility for making sure we got that information. You do realize we have oversight responsibilities here?
Senator, I would work that information through my chain of command.
All right, that's a very concerning answer here. Look, what's happening right now is very dangerous. We need our nonpartisan military leaders to double down on their commitment to following the law and speaking up when they are asked to break it. And Congress needs to be able to step in and rein in this lawless commander-in-chief and his self-styled Secretary of War. Thank you.
Not his self-styled Secretary of War. Did y'all hear that? She said his self-styled Secretary of War. Okay, he's not going to answer the question because he doesn't want to tick off Trump. And the bottom line is he's absolutely supposed to report it. Okay, he's not supposed to follow any illegal orders. Okay, and he definitely should report it to them because they do have oversight responsibility, as she said. But now let's go to this report from WSTV, where they say Trump warns U.S. could massively blow up major gas field. This came out less than an hour ago. And then we're going to get into Miss Crockett talking about the war and quoting Tupac.
Warning he's going to wipe out one of Iran's major gas fields if the regime continues targeting energy facilities. Yesterday, an Iranian strike hit a crucial LNG facility in Qatar after Israel hit Iran's South Pars gas field, which is one of the largest in the world. We want to get right to Mark Boyle at the live desk with the very latest right now. Good morning to you, Mark. You know, it really seems up until now, direct attacks on energy infrastructure have been mostly off limits.
Yeah, but that's now seemingly the target this morning. The president is upping his tone, Jan, within the past 24 hours as he looks to avoid any more damage done to Middle East oil infrastructure. And new within the past few hours, Kuwait and Saudi Arabia confirmed drone attacks targeting oil refineries across the region. And to try and tamp down those tensions in the region, President Trump posted on social media a lengthy post saying Israel, out of anger for what has taken place in the Middle East, has violently lashed out at major facilities in Iran, a relatively small section that was hit here. The United States knew nothing about this particular attack. The president's been very clear. He wants these items to be stopped. He does not want these attacks to continue. We'll see how this plays out, though. Developing this morning, CENTCOM releasing some new video in a new wave of attacks across Iran. Forces struck a number of targets as the U.S. military pushes deeper into that region this morning. As the attacks get ramped up, members of Congress say they are confident still, with all this going on, that this conflict will end soon.
The commander-in-chief said that as well. What are we? A couple weeks into it now. I think the mission is just about accomplished, and I believe it'll come to a close very soon.
Finally, the bodies of 6 fallen service members have returned to the States. Some photographs of that behind me here. They were killed in Iraq when the refueling plane they were flying crashed. Those photographs were released from the dignified transfer ceremony attended by the president and other members of his cabinet.
I'm going to start with Tupac. We're going to start with the fact that Tupac famously said, for those of you that didn't necessarily listen to rap, that we've got money for war, but we can't feed the poor. And the reason that I bring this up is for 2 reasons. Number one, in order to get Maduro, the estimated cost is $3 billion. I can guarantee you that a lot of Americans would say, yes, there's a valid warrant and things like that, but for the cost of $3 billion, let's put our money somewhere else. Number one. Number two, Professor, you talked about the fact that if there wasn't the loss of life as it relates to our service members, or if this was just kind of quick boots on the ground for a second, then it wasn't war. So just answer this question for me. Would you consider what is taking place currently in the Middle East a war, because we continue to have our sons and daughters returned in caskets to the United States? That's a yes or no?
No, the analysis for Iran is different.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you agree with me then? Yes?
I didn't say that.
Okay, it's different analysis. So I'm just going to go with you agree with me, because this is clearly a war and it's unconstitutional. That is the bottom line. And frankly, as it relates to Venezuela, I think that we still will have some time to determine exactly how bad it is. Because Imagine for 2 seconds that you had fishermen and sailors that were coming from the United States, and Venezuela all of a sudden started bombing our people, saying, oh, no, you're bringing guns. Because let me be clear, America does their fair share of nonsense in other countries. We tend to supply everybody with the guns. We flood this world with guns everywhere, right? So let's say they said, you know what, we don't want all those guns going to the gangsters in our communities. So we're just going to start blowing people up. And frankly, legally, that may work for them. You know why? We have a constitution and not everybody does. And so it is offensive to sit here and engage in this conversation as someone who practiced criminal law. And my God, everyone that I had, no matter what they were accused of, even if they were accused of capital murder, they were given an opportunity to actually show up in court and face their accusations, not be killed. So the justification, like, I don't understand why we are trying to make it partisan. It should not be partisan to just go and blow up these boats. Are you saying, Professor, that you believe that blowing up these boats because somebody believes it? You know what? Let me do it this way. Let's say they are drug traffickers. Do you believe that it is constitutional for the United States to blow up people that are accused of being drug traffickers?
It's not gonna be a yes or no question. If I can take
Okay,
a few
then I'm
seconds.
gonna stop you there because I only got so much time. And Professor, I was really loving on you because you came from South Texas, which is down in Houston, not too far from the University of Houston, where I got my law degree. But it is very clear it is unconstitutional for us in the United States. Let me give y'all another issue that I don't understand if y'all see it the way that I do. There's this little thing called the Epstein files. There's a lot of people that have been found liable, charged, all kinds of stuff, from Prince Andrew and Peter Mandelson, from Norwegian officials, the former prime minister, and the former ambassador, all these different people, right? Some would argue, especially since there was international trafficking that was taking place, some would argue that our president, whose name is found over and over and over and over in these files, may have engaged in, say, child trafficking, sex trafficking. They may come to that conclusion. Now, with that being the understanding, if there are other countries that believe, because they believe in actually holding people accountable, okay? So they say, you know what? There were some girls from England or wherever, because there were people from different countries, and they say, you know what, we gonna just come and we're gonna drop in on America. We're going to bomb America. We're going to kill civilians in America because you know what? We have a warrant for his arrest, whether it's for the child sex trafficking in the Epstein files because America doesn't want to do their job, or whether we're talking about violating international law, whether we're talking about going and just randomly killing people. I can tell you that every single one of you that is sticking up for him right now would be screaming from the rooftops. The analysis has to be the same. I am so offended that I am still paying my daggone student loans for law school, and it seems like none of it matters nowadays, because seemingly what we do is we twist the law to justify. The analysis is the same. If you would be outraged if they came and bombed our country to go after him, to arrest him, if you're listening, that I don't know. I don't know if people are doing this. But if they decided to do that because of the Epstein files or because of violating international law, you all would be against it. So we should be against it right now. Thank you, all yield.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And they're not going to do that because the devils are on code as per usual. They're not going to say that because here's the thing. They always use that tactic. So they're not going to speak against it because that's the tactic they use. They demonize and vilify people so that they can justify doing nefarious things to these people, like murdering them. Okay? Look at how when they kill a black person at a traffic stop who was unarmed, then they'll say, oh, well, they had a criminal history. And if they can't find that you had a criminal history, then they'll bring up your parents like they did Freddie Gray. If you remember, they brought up something that his mother or father did. Do you remember that? These are the things they'll do to try to justify their BS. But is there really any justification? So because someone was previously a criminal, because they had something on their record, they should be murdered rather than having due process and being able to attend court? Okay, they absolutely don't feel that way about themselves. So with that all being said, that was a very good point. Now, let's talk about how Pam Bondi had this fake meeting, okay? And if you ask me, she had this fake meeting basically so she could tell them whatever she wanted to tell them about the Epstein files because they had subpoenaed her and she didn't want to obey the subpoena. She just wanted to come in there and tell them whatever. And the reason she would be able to do that is because she would not be under oath. It would just be a regular meeting, a fake hearing, basically is what they're calling it. But I find it interesting that Comer had the nerve to basically all but call Summer Lee the B word. And I think that he did that because that's a Black woman. I don't think that he ever would have spoken to a white woman in that way, okay? Not while he was at work on the job. Let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Also, the Democrats walked out on them during the meeting, and I don't blame them.
It's very clear that the purpose of this entire fake hearing, this fake deposition, is the Attorney General trying to weasel herself out of sitting in front of us under oath, under a bipartisan subpoena that we gave her committee. We asked her multiple times, are you going to come and speak with us under oath? She would not say yes. Filibuster, filibuster, filibuster would not say yes. And so why do we, and then our Republican colleagues say, is this not enough? Why don't you want to speak to her now? We want her under oath because we do not trust her. Why don't we trust her? Because she's a liar. Look at how that Judiciary Committee hearing went. She was spying on members of Congress when they were in the DOJ looking at the documents unredacted. Look at what she's done as far as not putting documents relating to Donald Trump on the website, not releasing them, and only doing it when the public noticed and said something about it. We want her under oath because we don't trust her. We want her under oath because she has shown that she is involved in a cover-up. My Republican colleagues under the last administration would not stand for this, with Merrick Garland being in front of them not being under oath. They wouldn't allow that to happen for a second. To me, it's very
Starseed Oracle said, you didn't get a notification, beloved. Please double check to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel, honey, because I tell y'all that's what they do. They be on that straight BS. Okay, Bape Racks says the wanton supremacists, because they're not supreme, they just want to be, okay, knows exactly how to trigger her, causing her and Black people to look bad. Honey, they can't make us look bad. They make themselves look bad with their foolish racism and saying idiotic things. I don't think they made her look bad at all. They look bad. Hating on people for no good reason and wanting to be superior when they're absolutely not.
It is unbelievable that Pam Bondi can sit there in the hearing room like she just did a minute ago and say, yes, there was evidence from 1,200 women that either came forward themselves and testified to the FBI and gave witness statements and said that they had been assaulted by Epstein and his co-conspirators, or that had gone to attorneys who had brought cases. So 1,200 women are assaulted over a 20-year period, and they can't make a case? It is unbelievable.
That's right. 1,200 women came forward and you have nothing to move forward with? Well, that's because you don't want to. Okay, now let's go to Summer Lee.
Today was absolutely a farce. From the very beginning, AG Bondi has been obstructing justice. She has perjured herself multiple times, and she has been withholding critical documents that would inform this investigation into a pedophile, into corruption, and possibly quite deeper, because we do not know who was all involved. Today, what their attempt was to push this under the rug, do something off the record that they would not have to be accountable for.
So under the Epstein Transparency Act, we had 30 days to redact and release, under the law that was passed, 3 million documents. If you stack those up, that's the height of the Eiffel Tower. No other administration, under the Biden administration, they released 0 documents. So we did our very best to comply with the law.
That was her very best. That was her very best, trying to comply with the law. Like, please, make it all make sense. But let's continue.
If he would compel her to come to our deposition. If she did not come, would he force her to, or if he would move for contempt hearings as he did for other people who did not respond to our subpoena? Instead of answering as an adult, he said that I was bitching, which is, again, something that would not be allowed if we were operating under the rules of this committee, because engaging in personalities is actually something that we are not able to do. If C-SPAN and the public were there, I'd imagine that he would not act that way. Neither here nor there. We expected AG Bondi to be adversarial. We expected her to be confrontational. And we expected her to not offer us much information. But that's why I introduced impeachment articles, because she has already been obstructing justice. She has already weaponized the DOJ. She has already ended investigations into Trump and his allies. She has used this role essentially as one to help the president. She does not answer to the president. The DOJ does not have the right or the privilege of withholding information from an active investigation, ignoring the laws of our land, which the Epstein Transparency Act is, with our subpoena from last July is. And the oversight Dems will continue to press for accountability. We'll continue to press for justice for survivors while also keeping them centered in this. So at the end of the day, we are still here seeking answers for women, for girls, and for the American public who has demanded justice, who have demanded answers to this. And whether or not they will pretend that the documents that they've given us is enough, we already know that they have not complied. And we are asking other people to make sure that we do not let them off the hook right now. So we look forward to her on the record deposition.
Okay, she needs to respond to the lawful subpoena and speak on the record. Okay, like I said, she just wants to get in there and say whatever she says and tell all the lies, because she will not be held accountable for her lies. Okay, that's what she won't do with that whole fake hearing.
Well, I just walked out of a fake deposition, fake hearing with Pam Bondi, where Chairman Comer called me a bitch. So here's what actually happened. We had already subpoenaed her because she has not been in compliance with our subpoena and the Epstein Transparency Act to release the full, complete, unredacted Epstein files. She has been withholding them. She has been obstructing justice since last July. And a couple weeks ago, we finally got bipartisan support to subpoena her, to bring her into our committee to ask questions. Now, today's attempt, sham of a hearing, was your attempt to bypass that. Multiple times we asked her if she would come in and she would talk to our committee on the record, under oath, in the public. She refused to do so. So instead of directing any more questions to her where she's not under oath, where she can continue to lie to us, I directed my questions to our chairman to see if he would compel her to comply with the subpoena that he signed and that he issued. He could not respond. I asked him if she did not come, if he would hold her in contempt, move with contempt proceedings like he did with other people who he said did not comply with our subpoenas. And instead of answering this simple question with a yes, of course, he said that I was bitching and that I was wasting his time and that we didn't have to talk about this anymore. So that's where we are. That's why we are trying to move to impeach her. That's why we introduced those articles of impeachment, because it is clear that she has no intention on cooperating with Congress. She has no intention on cooperating with the American people. She is not seeking justice for survivors or anyone else. She is there to run cover for Donald Trump, for his allies, and for herself. And it's time that we get her out of there.
Yeah, she's acting like she's had something to do with this trafficking herself. Okay, so let's go to this video by David Pakman. Okay, likes up, everyone, please like and share, and I'm going to use an overlay. Well, I was going to go to Cash Patel. Maybe I'll go to him. I'm not sure. Okay, here we go.
Consider just the surface level. Like, we'll do a deeper analysis of all of the geopolitical implications, but just take what Trump is saying at its face for a moment and realize how completely deranged this is. Trump is saying, I'm mad that Israel attacked the South Pars gas field in Iran. Okay, he's mad about that. He says Iran then attacked Qatar's gas facility in response. He's also mad about that. And Trump is threatening, if Iran does another attack against Qatar, Trump himself will go and attack the South Pars gas field, which he's currently angry with Israel for having attacked. Consider how remarkably stupid this is.
Exactly. And it was reported less than an hour ago that that's exactly what Trump's now talking about doing. Okay, attacking the South Par facility, which I believe is right across from the north.
He's furious about an attack Israel did on the gas field. And he says, if Iran retaliates against Qatar, I'm so mad about the attack on the oil, on the gas field that I will attack it. What? This is totally deranged. Either this is like some 11D chess that we do not have the cognitive capacity to analyze and think about, or Trump's clueless and desperate. And I believe that it's the latter. Now, I've been warning for weeks, and it's happening. And I'm not patting myself on the back because it was such an obvious prediction. Trump, when he started with this will be a few days, it might be 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, whatever. It's premised on the belief that when Trump says this is over, it's over. But we are very quickly seeing that that is not the case. It's not the case because Israel can keep attacking, even if Donald Trump goes, hey, you know what? I'm kind of crushing our economy. This is not so good. Gas is up 42%. Stocks are in free fall. We're losing jobs. Other countries can say, well, we're going to keep going. Iran, as the attacked country, they may not be ready for someone else to tell them when this is over. In fact, they might be waiting for Trump to say it's over, which Trump has kind of said 3 times, even though we keep escalating the strikes. I mean, none of it is coherent. It's extraordinarily delusional. Iran might say, well, we're now going to keep attacking whoever because we're furious about what was done here. The real bigger danger is that desperation on the behalf of Trump, plus access to nukes, plus being kind of dumb, is a very dangerous combination. And the fear that is buried somewhere deep down for me is that if Trump gets desperate enough and angry enough that he goes, let's just send a nuke. Let's end this thing with a nuke. And that would be a very bad situation. And quite frankly, I have no idea whether the people around Donald Trump would be positioned to dissuade him from doing that. I hope that they would. I hope Trump would listen. But Trump is not exactly one for being talked out of stuff. Sometimes it's possible, but it is not frequently the way that Trump operates.
Okay, and I want you all to think about that because I absolutely am concerned about him doing something so stupid. And let's not forget how he just sat there and asked that man from Japan, why didn't they tell him about Pearl Harbor? Okay, and we know that that's how the U.S. retaliated with nuclear weaponry. Okay, so please pay attention. Okay, just a couple of more videos and then we're out of here.
There absolutely is about to be a false flag, framing Iran for something that the United States government is going to do to its own people. It is the morning of March 18th here on the East Coast of the United States. And in the last 24, 36 or so hours, we have had 2 very major things happen that are pointing to this concept that a false flag is going to be orchestrated. Now strap in and put your tinfoil hat on, low-key, because this is kind of crazy. And if you need a much more eloquent piecing together of all the pieces and a breakdown of what exactly is going on and how it's all connected, please watch the video by Total Hypocrisy that I'm going to tag in my caption. So the first thing we saw here in the US yesterday morning, March 17th, was the head of our National Counterterrorism Unit resigning. And no, this is not because of what we are doing. He had no problem with that. This guy is as radically, loyally MAGA as they come. He didn't care when Trump was terrorizing US citizens with ICE, and he did not care what we were doing in all the other parts of the world for the past year. But he resigned yesterday, citing in his resignation letter that he realized and couldn't, ignore anymore that the US was being pulled into all these conflicts and basically being controlled by Israel. And the second piece of news is happening over in Iran last night, where their head of the Supreme National Security Council over in Iran was supposedly taken out by us. And this guy, Ali Larijani, was the same guy who, maybe you saw this a couple days ago, posted on Twitter and said he knew, he had knowledge that the US was planning an attack like 9/11 and was going to blame Iran for it. Now, if you remember, like a week or so ago, time is hard to tell at this point, the US government did come out and try to tell us, oh, Iran's gonna bomb California, oh! And we all immediately were kind of like, girl, that doesn't even logistically make any sense. Also, like, no, they are. And they even went as far as to frame that Muslim guy for some attack that happened, saying he had a hoodie in his car that had Allah written on it. And we all, again, came out and were just like, that is fake. That is a set up. So I wholeheartedly believe that was their first attempt to try to soft launch this idea that Iran's gonna attack us, when in reality, it's gonna be them. And to protect myself on this app and also from the naysayers, I will say this is all alleged, except for, the literal documentation of what these two men have said. That's real. But what it means, allegedly. Oh, and one more thing I want y'all to keep in mind, perhaps the cherry on top of all this. An email came out in the files that Jeffrey Epstein sent, literally saying Trump is a psychopath and he's going to bomb Iran to get himself out of whatever trouble he's in. Yeah. I think it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. When are they going to try to do this again? Let me know. Let me know what you think. Comment below and do everything you can to push this out and make people aware of what the fuck is going on. Oh,
Okay, didn't I tell you all that? This man is absolutely right. Didn't I tell you all this? I've been telling you all this for days. And also, please pay attention. He said that he basically thinks that the reason the counterterrorism person resigned, Joe Kent, is because he knows that that's about to happen. I told you all that yesterday or the day before. I told you all that. That man knows exactly what's about to happen, and that's why he got the hell up out of there. Okay, please pay attention. Please pay attention. Now, what is really going to happen here? And I told you all they were lying about the sleeper cells. That's just some BS made up. Okay? That's just some BS they made up. I absolutely believe it. I absolutely believe it. And don't forget that I told you also that they said those drones were missing from Fort Campbell. But hold on. Let's think about something here, folks. Something just hit me. Remember when I told you all this morning that it was reported that there were drones flying over California? Didn't they say there were drones flying over California where Hegseth or Kegsbreath and Rubio were? Okay, please pay attention. So I absolutely think Trump would do something so malicious and desperately, because here's the thing. Trump knows that a lot of Americans, other than his stupid MAGA millions, and yes, they're insidiously obtuse, but at the end of the day, he knows that most of America is against him and this war that we shouldn't even have been involved in. He knows that. He knows midterms are coming up and all of this. So what he's likely going to do, and in my opinion, just like that guy said, I've been telling you all, he's going to absolutely cause a false flag, in my opinion, just so Iran can be blamed. And I told you all this already. I told you all this, I think, last week even. Okay? So then people will fall out of favor with Iran and say, oh, they really are terrorists. Oh, they're killing our people. Yeah. But like I told you all, please pay attention when it does happen, okay? Because the people that you may think that it is, may not be the ones who actually did it. Okay, please pay attention. This is all getting real messy. Okay, with that all being said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Please like and share. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell. And also, if you haven't been receiving notifications, double check to see if you're still subscribed, because they absolutely will unsubscribe people. Okay, and until next time, beloveds, I hope you enjoy the rest of this evening, and I will see you all in the morning with your morning wake-up call. Now, the stuff we were supposed to talk about tonight, we will definitely talk about that tomorrow night, okay? So I love you all to life. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
Hit him with that flavor. All in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got